Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sparkle. And today we have a special guest, Melrose York, with us today. She lives in Augusta, Georgia, and I'll let her tell you a little bit about herself. I know she does grief sharing and does a wonderful job. She's got some good experience with that, which she'll share as well. But Sparkle is to connect, inspire, and encourage um, women in their faith through stories of women, ordinary women, extraordinary women, women across the country. So we are delighted to have Melrose today. So Melrose, tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
yourself and maybe about
Yes.
some of the grief sharing programs that you do.
Yes. I am a grief share facilitator. That means I don't lead anybody anywhere, but I'm uniquely qualified to do that. I lost my daughter, Katie, in 2008 to the effects of viral encephalitis, and my husband passed in February 2020, which was 1 month before we shut down for COVID. So I grieved him probably by myself. And then my mother, who was 100, and we prayed, Jesus, open heaven. She was 100 years old. She died um, 18 months after my husband Ron did. So I feel really uniquely qualified to do what I do. And God directed me after Katie died to facilitate this grief recovery program. And I use the word recovery very loosely because we never recover from profound grief. But there's
I
a way to
love
manage
that.
it. And I think
Yeah.
my message is hope.
No, I love that. I love that. And you have been through very, very difficult, unusually difficult situations with grief. And, I don't know anyone better. I know that you were present even when my father passed away and
Yes,
just gave great comfort
yes,
in that
yes.
because, it really does help if you've gone through it. And I know that's
Mhm.
nothing that you would have desired for yourself, but God has used it. Like you said earlier to me, that you feel very called and know you're supposed to be where you are. Maybe
Mhm.
you can tell us a little bit about your faith story first, and then we can go into more
Sure,
detail with GriefShare.
sure. Actually, my faith story starts with your grandmother.
Oh,
I call her Aunt Mary. I
oh,
can remember very early spending the night at her house on occasion and waking up, going downstairs, and the sweetest thing, now I think it's the sweetest thing, she would be sitting with her Bible open and actually smoking a cigarette. At the time, everybody smoked cigarettes. I was
okay.
10 years old or so. But she had her Bible open and she would read to me, or she would say, "This is the day the Lord hath made."
Oh,
And it was just the sweetest moments. And I can remember talking to your dad about this and saying, "How come I didn't see my parents? I knew they was raised in the faith." And he said it was different then. We weren't so demonstrative, I guess, with faith back in those days. But I can remember sitting in church between my mother and your grandmother and eating mints as a child. But that's the sweetest memory. I thought about it last night. So
oh,
thank you for bringing that to my mind.
that is the sweetest thing. And I know you mentioned Katie also
Yes.
had mentioned that she wanted to attend church more regularly or with a
Yes.
friend, or
Yes.
yes.
Uh,
So that was also part of the
busy
story.
families. I have a stepson, Paul, and our busy family was busy. And frankly, we went to church, but not that often. And Katie said one day, "Mama, why don't we go to church every Sunday like my friend Blake does?" So a child shall lead them, and we found a church with a vibrant youth group, and we started, and I'm still there today.
Oh, that's just amazing.
Yeah.
So then, you were talking about, Katie getting sick and passing away,
Yes.
and then Ron passing away, and your mom passing away,
Mhm.
and all of it just being so sad. But you've turned it into something that you're able to give back and
Mhm.
maybe find a little bit of joy in it. I don't know. But maybe tell us about what you do.
Yes. I facilitate GriefShare, and it's griefshare.org. They're international. Anybody can find a group. But I found this group soon after Katie died. And I think we heal best first with Jesus and then in community. I remember wanting to find another mother who had experienced the death of a child. And I know the Lord led me to GriefShare. A group of women started around a dining room table. And then a couple of years later, I took it to my church. And it is as healing for me and every facilitator who leads a GriefShare group than anything else. It's faith-based and Christ-centered. And we believe that you don't heal fully anyway. The rest of your life you'll grieve, but we do it best in community and with Jesus.
And you said it was a 13-week program,
Yes,
correct?
13
Once a
weeks.
week.
Yes.
And go ahead.
It's 13 weeks, but people often will come through multiple times, and we encourage that because people who are in profound grief they're not real attuned to what's going on. There are a lot of problems we don't know when we first get into grief. Memory loss is one of them that's very normal. Focus, you can't focus. So we encourage people to come through a second time and even a third, and we hope that they will come alongside and help us facilitate eventually.
I think it's amazing. And how does it differ from a regular, maybe more secular grief program?
Yeah. Well, it's Christ-centered. We believe that we cannot heal without Jesus. And I think early in grief, we may feel that he's distant, that we may feel the Lord is distant, but he's not. And I think once you begin GriefShare, you find that this is possibly a normal thing that people will find. But in a secular group, and I tried a secular group 3 times, there's no God. And people don't have the hope that we do. We have the hope of eternity. We are going to see our loved ones again. We're going to see Jesus first. And right behind them, one of my favorite things to think about is my people. And just running to them.
And you had talked about too, just moving forward, and not staying in it has been a big thing. Yeah,
yes.
just keeping that.
Yeah, that's one of the things GriefShare is good about. It's always a step forward. We offer ways to do that, and if you're not ready, that's okay. Just keep coming, stay with us, and move forward. And I think we have to move forward in the healing process. And that's what GriefShare is known for. We move one step at a time.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. And I know everybody should look for that in their area.
Yes.
For people that are grieving or going through any kind of death experience. So Melrose, how would you leave us today with just a short just message from you? Just what would you say as you end this show?
I think my message has to be hope. Anybody who is in profound grief, look for a program that is faith-based. There is hope on the other side of it. I've heard so many stories from people who have suffered much worse losses. Suicide and overdose are 2 underserved areas of grief, and there's so much pain associated with it, but there's so much hope on the other end, and God promises that. He promises that. And I cannot recommend a program. And community is healing as well. We need community.
Well, hope and community. I think that is important. And if you lose hope, you have nothing, right?
Yes.
So, so it's coming from you, that's huge because you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, thank you, Melrose, for joining us today.
The program is so good to be here.
Yeah, and
thank you for having me.
For encouraging us today. So
thank you.
We'll see you again next time.
Okay.